The Galactic Ultimatum. The vast expanse of space seemed to hold its breath as the imposing Zarkonian warships materialized above Earth. Their sleek, obsidian hulls gleamed ominously in the light of the sun, dwarfing the planet's defensive satellites. On the bridge of the flagship Eternal Night, Supreme Commander Vexlor stood with his four arms clasped behind his back, his crimson eyes fixed on the blue-green orb below. "Open a channel to their leaders," Vexlor commanded, his gravelly voice echoing through the bridge. Moments later, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of United Earth President Amelia Chen. Her expression betrayed no fear, only steely determination. "Greetings, humans," Vexlor began, his mandibles clicking. "I am Supreme Commander Vexlor of the Zarkonian Empire. We have come to collect our due." President Chen's eyes narrowed. "And what precisely do you believe is due to you, Commander?" Vexlor's upper set of arms spread wide in a gesture that might have been mistaken for magnanimous, if not for the predatory glint in his eyes. "Why merely a modest tribute? The Zarkonian Empire has brought order to countless systems across the galaxy. We offer protection, technological advancements, and a place within our grand design. In return, we ask for but a fraction of your world's resources and a tithe of your population to serve in our fleets." A murmur of outrage rippled through the United Earth Council chamber, where the broadcast was being viewed. President Chen, however, remained impassive. "And if we refuse?" she asked, her voice cold. Vexlor's mandibles twitched in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Then we will take what we want by force. Your defenses are pitiful compared to our might. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." The transmission cut off, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. President Chen turned to face her advisors, her expression grim. "Options," she demanded. Admiral Jackson, a grizzled veteran of the Mars conflict, stepped forward. "Madam President, our orbital defenses are no match for their fleet. We could potentially evacuate key personnel to our lunar bases, but we'd be abandoning billions to slavery or worse." Chen finished for him. She shook her head. "Unacceptable." Dr. Ilara Singh, head of Earth's Xenobiology Division, cleared her throat. "There might be another way," she said hesitantly. All eyes turned to her. Project Prometheus. A collective gasp went through the room. Project Prometheus was Earth's most closely guarded secret, a collaboration with an enigmatic alien race known as the Orcs. The Orcs, fleeing their own oppressors, had shared advanced technology with humanity in exchange for sanctuary. Together, they had developed weapons and defenses far beyond anything the rest of the galaxy had seen. President Chen's eyes widened. "It's not ready," she protested. "The risks are less than the certainty of defeat if we do nothing," Dr. Singh countered. "The Orcs have assured us that the Nova Core is stable. With it, we could power a planetary shield that even the Zarkonians couldn't penetrate." The room fell silent as the weight of the decision settled on them. Using untested alien technology could save humanity or doom it entirely. Meanwhile, aboard the Eternal Night, Vexlor grew impatient. "They've had enough time to realize the futility of resistance," he growled. "Prepare the first wave of landing craft. We'll start with their largest population centers." As the Zarkonian invasion force began to descend, alarms blared across Earth. In secret facilities around the globe, scientists and engineers raced against time to bring Project Prometheus online. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Singh stood before an enormous crystalline structure that pulsed with an otherworldly blue light. The Nova Core hummed with barely contained power, its alien geometries defying human understanding. "Initiating startup sequence," she announced, her voice trembling slightly. Banks of computers came to life, channeling the core's energy into a network of transmission towers scattered across the planet. In orbit, Vexlor watched with growing confusion as strange energy readings began to emanate from Earth's surface. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. Suddenly, a shimmering field of energy burst forth from the planet, expanding rapidly outward. The Zarkonian landing craft, caught in its path, sparked and faltered, plummeting back towards their motherships. Vexilor's eyes widened in disbelief as the energy field enveloped his entire fleet. Systems across every ship began to fail, weapons powered down, and engines sputtered to a halt. On Earth, cheers erupted in control rooms and command centers as the shield stabilized. President Chen allowed herself a small smile before turning to Admiral Jackson. "Prepare our counteroffensive," she ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with." As Earth's own ships and fighters launched from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, Vexilor could only watch in stunned silence. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the ingenuity and determination of the human race. The battle for Earth had begun, and with it, a new chapter in galactic history was about to be written. Earth's secret weapon. As Earth's shield shimmered in the void, casting a protective blue glow over the planet, the Zarkonian fleet hung motionless in space. Supreme Commander Vexilor paced the bridge of the eternal night, his crimson eyes darting between malfunctioning displays. "Status report," he barked, mandibles clicking in agitation. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Zix, hunched over a sputtering console. "All systems are down, sir. Weapons, propulsion, even life support is running on emergency power. Whatever the humans have done, it's like nothing we've ever encountered." Vexilor's upper fists clenched. Impossible. These primitives couldn't have developed such technology. There must be another explanation. As if in answer to his denial, a transmission cut through the static on their primary view screen. President Chen's face appeared, her expression a mix of determination and barely concealed triumph. "Supreme Commander Vexilor," she began, her voice steady, "I believe it's time we renegotiated the terms of our arrangement." Vexilor snarled, "You dare." Chen cut him off. "We dare because we must. Humanity will not bow to tyranny, not from you, not from anyone. But we are not without mercy. Power down your weapons, recall your invasion force, and we will allow you safe passage out of our system." The Zarkonian commander's eyes narrowed. "And if we refuse?" A small smile played at the corners of Chen's mouth. "Then you'll have a front-row seat to witness the full capabilities of Earth's defense systems. The choice is yours, Commander. You have 1 hour to decide." The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge of the eternal night in stunned silence. Meanwhile, in the subterranean complex housing project Prometheus, Dr. Ilara Singh worked feverishly alongside her Arxer colleagues. The alien beings, with their translucent skin and multifaceted eyes, moved with fluid grace around the pulsing Nova core. "The shield is holding," reported Dr. Yara Helsing, Singh's human assistant, "but we're detecting fluctuations in the power output. If we don't stabilize it soon." Singh nodded grimly. "I know. We could lose the entire network." She turned to the nearest Arxer, a being she knew as Zixus. "Any ideas?" Zixus's mouth tendrils rippled in what Singh had come to recognize as their version of a frown. "The core is behaving erratically. It's as if it's responding to some external stimulus we can't detect." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Singh rushed to a nearby monitor, her eyes widening in disbelief. "That's impossible," she whispered. On the screen, a new energy signature was appearing, emanating not from Earth, but from the Zarkonian fleet. In orbit, aboard the Eternal Night, Vexilor watched in a mixture of awe and terror as a pulsing violet energy began to coalesce around his ships. Systems that had been dead suddenly sprang to life, but not under Zarkonian control. "Sir," Zix called out, his voice trembling, "I'm detecting a quantum entanglement signal. It's coming from the humans." Vexilor's mandibles clicked rapidly in shock. "Impossible. The only race with that technology is the Arxer," Zix finished for him. Back on Earth, in the United Earth Council chamber, Admiral Jackson burst in, his face pale. "Madam President, we have a situation. The Zarkonian fleet. It's powering up again, but not in any way we've seen before. President Chen's brow furrowed. Explain. It's as if their ships are being repurposed, transformed by some kind of advanced nanotechnology. Our sensors are picking up energy readings that are off the charts. Dr. Singh's voice came through on the emergency channel. Madam President, the Nova Corps is reacting to the Zarkonian fleet. It's communicating with their systems, somehow. I think the Orcs planned this all along. Chen's eyes widened as the implications sank in. Are you saying the Orcs set this up? That they knew the Zarkonians would come? It's more than that, Singh replied, her voice tight with tension. I think they're using us, using Earth, as a battleground in a war we didn't even know was happening. As if to confirm her words, the space around Earth lit up with dazzling displays of energy. The Zarkonian ships, now glowing with the same violet hue as the anomaly, began to move of their own accord, forming a protective barrier around the planet. On the bridge of the eternal night, Vexilor watched helplessly as his own flagship turned against him. A new transmission flickered to life on his view screen, but it wasn't President Chen this time. Instead, the multifaceted eyes of an Orcser stared back at him. Greetings, Supreme Commander, the Orcser said, its voice a melodious hum. We apologize for the deception, but it was necessary. Your Empire's aggression has served its purpose, drawing out the very weapons we needed to end this millennia-long conflict. Vexilor's voice was a low growl. What have you done to my ships? The Orcser's mouth tendrils rippled in what might have been amusement. We've given them new purpose. Your fleet, combined with Earth's Nova Corps, will form the vanguard of our defense against the true enemy. The ones who drove us from our home galaxy eons ago. They're coming, Commander, and we'll need every race, every ship, every scrap of technology to stand against them. As the transmission ended, Vexilor slumped in his command chair, the weight of the galaxy seemingly pressing down on him. On Earth, President Chen and her advisors watched in a mixture of awe and trepidation as their planet became the centerpiece of a galactic chess game they never knew they were playing. The Orcser's gambit had paid off, but at what cost? As the transformed Zarkonian fleet took up defensive positions around Earth, one thing became clear. Humanity's role in the cosmos had just changed forever. They were no longer just inhabitants of a small blue planet. They were now custodians of a weapon that could determine the fate of galaxies. And somewhere, in the vast, dark spaces between the stars, an ancient enemy stirred, sensing that its long-dormant foes had finally revealed themselves. The true battle, it seemed, was only just beginning. The Battle of Nova Prime. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Earth found itself at the center of a rapidly expanding galactic alliance. The Orcser, using the transformed Zarkonian fleet as a foundation, began to construct a massive space station in Earth's orbit. They called it Nova Prime, a name that paid homage to both the Nova Corps technology and humanity's pivotal role in the coming conflict. President Chen stood in the newly completed observation deck of Nova Prime, gazing out at the sea of stars. Beside her, the Orcser ambassador Zixus floated serenely, its translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns. It's beautiful, Chen murmured, watching as ships from a dozen different species docked with the station. But I can't help feeling like we've been thrust onto a stage we're not ready for. Zixus's mouth tendrils rippled in what Chen had come to recognize as a sympathetic gesture. Your species has shown remarkable adaptability, Madam President. It is why we chose Earth as our sanctuary, and why you now stand as the linchpin of our defense. Chen turned to face the alien diplomat. And what of the enemy you speak of? When will they arrive? Before Zixus could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Admiral Jackson's voice crackled over the comms. Madam President, we're detecting massive spatial distortions at the edge of the solar system. Something's coming through. Chen's heart raced as she and Zixus rushed to the command center. The main view screen showed a swirling vortex of dark energy tearing open the fabric of space itself. From its maw emerged ships unlike anything they had ever seen. Living vessels that seemed to be made of shadow and starlight, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "The Void Collective," Zixus whispered, its usual calm demeanor shaken. "They found us sooner than we anticipated." As the enemy fleet approached, the Alliance ships moved into defensive formations. The transformed Zarkonian vessels, now glowing with the power of the Nova Corps, formed the front line. Supreme Commander Vexilor, who had reluctantly joined the Alliance after witnessing the true scope of the threat, stood at the helm of the Eternal Night. "All ships, battle stations," he commanded, his voice carrying across the Allied fleet. "Today we fight not for empire or glory, but for the very survival of all sentient life." The Void Collective struck first, launching tendrils of dark energy that sought to ensnare the Allied ships. But the Nova Corps-enhanced vessels proved resilient, their shields flickering with blue fire as they repelled the assault. On Nova Prime, Dr. Singh worked frantically to coordinate the station's defenses with the Arxer scientists. "We need to synchronize the Nova Corps pulses," she shouted over the chaos. "If we can create a resonance cascade, we might be able to disrupt their energy patterns." As the battle raged, it became clear that despite their advanced technology, the Allies were outnumbered. Void ships phased in and out of reality, making them difficult targets. Allied vessels exploded in silent bursts of light and debris, their crews lost to the cold vacuum of space. President Chen watched the carnage with a heavy heart. "We need to do something," she said, turning to Zixus. "Is there nothing more the Nova Corps can do?" The Arxer's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with an idea. "There is one possibility, but it would require a tremendous sacrifice." Chen's eyes narrowed. "What kind of sacrifice?" "The Nova Corps' full potential can only be unlocked through a direct neural interface," Zixus explained. "But the human mind was never meant to channel such power. It would likely be fatal." A hush fell over the command center as the implications sank in. Chen looked out at the battle raging beyond the viewscreen, at the brave souls fighting and dying to protect not just Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy. "I'll do it," she said quietly. Admiral Jackson stepped forward, his face etched with concern. "Madam President, you can't." Chen held up a hand to silence him. "I took an oath to protect our people, Admiral. All our people. If this is what it takes, then so be it." As Chen was led to the Nova Corps chamber, the tide of battle continued to turn against the Allies. The Void Collective pressed their advantage, their living ships consuming Allied vessels and growing stronger with each victory. In the heart of Nova Prime, Chen stood before the pulsing crystal of the Nova Corps. Dr. Singh attached a series of neural interfaces to the President's temples, her hands shaking slightly. "Are you sure about this?" Singh asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling energy within the core. "For Earth. For all of us." With a deep breath, she stepped forward and placed her hands on the crystal. Instantly, her body went rigid as the full power of the Nova Corps surged through her. Chen's eyes blazed with blue fire, and her voice, when she spoke, seemed to echo with the wisdom of ages. "I see it now," she said, her words reverberating throughout the station and across the Allied fleet. "The pattern of creation, the rhythm of the universe itself." On the battlefield, the Allied ships suddenly pulsed with renewed energy. The Nova Corps-enhanced vessels began to move in perfect synchronization, as if guided by a single mind. Beams of pure creation lanced out, piercing the void ships and causing them to implode in on themselves. Supreme Commander Vexilor watched in awe as the tide of battle shifted. "By the ancestors," he muttered, "what kind of power have these humans unleashed?" The Void Collective, sensing the change in the battle's flow, began to retreat. Their shadowy ships twisted and writhed, trying to escape the onslaught of coordinated attacks. But the Allied fleet, moving as one, pressed their advantage. In the Nova Corps chamber, Chen's body began to fade, becoming translucent as the energy coursed through her. Dr. Singh cried out in alarm. But Zixis held her back. "She is becoming one with the core," the Arxer explained, its voice filled with reverence. "Her sacrifice will echo across the cosmos." As the last of the void ships vanished back through the spatial rift, Chen's physical form dissipated entirely. But her voice, strong and clear, resonated one last time. "Remember this day, not as a victory for one species or alliance, but as the moment we chose unity over division, hope over fear. The void will return, but we will be ready. Together, we are Nova Prime. We are the light that pushes back the darkness." The rift sealed shut, leaving the battered but victorious Allied fleet floating in the silence of space. On Nova Prime, humans, Arxer, and even the once hostile Zarkonians stood side by side, marveling at the power they had witnessed and the sacrifice that had saved them all. As news of the victory, and of President Chen's sacrifice, spread across Earth and to the far corners of the galaxy, a new era dawned. The Battle of Nova Prime would be remembered not just as a military triumph, but as the crucible in which a true galactic civilization was forged. But even as the Allies celebrated, questions lingered. What other threats lurked in the vast unknown of space? And could their newfound unity withstand the challenges yet to come? The answers to these questions would shape the destiny of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the cosmos. Turning the tide. In the aftermath of the Battle of Nova Prime, the galaxy entered a period of rapid change. The sacrifice of President Chen had not only saved countless lives, but had also fundamentally altered the nature of the Nova Core itself. Her consciousness, now merged with the ancient technology, provided a bridge between organic life and the vast energies of creation. On Earth, Admiral Jackson found himself thrust into the role of interim leader. As he stood before the United Earth Council, the weight of recent events heavy on his shoulders, he couldn't help but feel out of his depth. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice echoing in the somber chamber, "we find ourselves at a crossroads. The threat of the Void Collective has been pushed back, but not eliminated. We must decide how to move forward in this new galactic landscape." Dr. Singh, now heading Earth's efforts to understand and harness the evolved Nova Core, stepped forward. "The core is different now," she explained, her eyes bright with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "It's as if President Chen's consciousness has given it a new purpose. We're detecting quantum entanglement signals reaching far beyond our galaxy." A murmur rippled through the council chamber. One of the members, a grizzled veteran of Earth's early space conflicts, spoke up. "Are you saying we can communicate across intergalactic distances?" Singh nodded. "Not just communicate. We believe we can create stable wormholes, linking distant parts of the universe. The possibilities for exploration, for expanding our alliance, are endless." As the Council debated the implications of this new technology, aboard Nova Prime, Supreme Commander Vexlor found himself in an unlikely partnership with Zixis, the Arxer ambassador. The two stood in the station's newly christened Chen Memorial Observatory, watching as ships from dozens of species came and went. "I never thought I'd see the day," Vexlor mused, his mandibles clicking softly. "Zarkonians working alongside races we once sought to conquer." Zixis's bioluminescent patterns shifted in what Vexlor had come to recognize as amusement. "The universe has a way of humbling even the mightiest empires, my friend. But together, we may yet face challenges that would overwhelm us individually." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from the station's control center. "Ambassador, Commander," a young human officer's voice crackled over the comms. "We're detecting unusual energy readings from the core. It's trying to communicate." In the heart of Nova Prime, the Nova Core pulsed with an otherworldly light. As Singh and a team of multi-species scientists gathered around it, a holographic image flickered to life. The ethereal form of President Chen, now a being of pure energy, materialized before them. "My friends," Chen's voice echoed, carrying the weight of cosmic knowledge, "I have seen beyond the veil of our reality. The Void Collective is but one of many threats that lurk in the darkness between galaxies. We must prepare, not just to defend, but to reach out. The hologram shifted, showing vast star maps and swirling galaxies. There are others out there, allies we have yet to meet, civilizations that have faced the void and survived. We must find them, unite with them. As Chen's message spread across the Alliance, a new sense of purpose took hold. The Nova Corps, guided by Chen's consciousness, began to establish links with distant parts of the universe. Exploration fleets, composed of ships from every allied species, were assembled. On Earth, Admiral Jackson stood before a massive crowd gathered in what was once New York's Central Park. The sky above was filled with ships from a dozen worlds, a testament to how far humanity had come in such a short time. Today, Jackson's voice boomed across the gathering. We embark on the greatest journey in the history of our species. Not as conquerors, not as refugees, but as explorers and peacekeepers. The stars are no longer a distant dream, but a roadmap to our shared future. As he spoke, the first of the massive exploration vessels lifted off, its hull gleaming with the combined technologies of a dozen races. Aboard, crews of humans worked alongside Zarkonians, Arxer, and beings from across the known galaxy. In the depths of space, the Nova Corps-powered wormhole generators sprang to life. Swirling vortexes of energy tore open the fabric of space-time, creating stable pathways to distant galaxies. The first ships entered these cosmic gateways, their crews filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. But even as the Alliance expanded its reach, the Void Collective was not idle. In the darkness between galaxies, they regrouped, evolved, and plotted their revenge. New tendrils of shadow began to creep towards unsuspecting civilizations, testing the limits of the Alliance's newfound power. On a distant world, at the edge of a galaxy the Alliance had only just discovered, a young alien child looked up at the night sky. A new star appeared, growing brighter by the moment. But this was no celestial body. It was the first Alliance ship to reach their world. As the ship descended, its hull adorned with symbols of peace from 100 cultures, the child's eyes widened in wonder. Unbeknownst to them, this moment was being repeated across countless worlds as the Alliance reached out, offering protection, knowledge, and hope. Back on Nova Prime, Vexlor and Zixis watched the holographic displays showing the progress of the exploration fleets. "We've come so far," Vexlor mused, "and yet I feel our greatest challenges still lie ahead." Zixis's mouth tendrils rippled in agreement. "Indeed, but thanks to the sacrifice of one human, we face those challenges united." As if in response to their words, the Nova Corps pulsed, sending waves of blue energy rippling through the station. In that moment, every being on Nova Prime felt a sense of connection, of purpose. They were no longer just individual species, but part of something greater, a cosmic tapestry of life, standing against the encroaching void. The tide had turned, but the true test of the Alliance was yet to come. As the exploration fleets ventured further into the unknown, they carried with them not just the hopes of their own worlds, but the very future of life in the universe. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space, President Chen's consciousness washed over it all, guiding, protecting, and preparing for the battles yet to come. A new galactic order. Years passed as the Alliance, now known as the Cosmic Concordat, expanded its influence across the stars. The Nova Corps network, guided by the consciousness of President Chen, had become the backbone of an intergalactic civilization. Wormhole gates linked distant galaxies, allowing for near-instantaneous travel and communication across vast cosmic distances. On Earth, the skyline of major cities had transformed. Towering spires of crystal and metal reached into the clouds, their designs a fusion of human ingenuity and alien aesthetics. In what was once the United Nations headquarters in New York, the Galactic Council convened, with representatives from thousands of worlds gathering to shape the future of their shared civilization. Admiral Jackson, now a revered elder statesman, stood at the podium. addressing the assembled delegates. His once dark hair had long since turned silver, but his eyes still burned with the same determination that had seen humanity through its darkest hours. "Distinguished representatives," he began, his voice carrying the weight of decades of leadership, "we stand at a crossroads. Our concordat has brought peace and prosperity to countless worlds, but we face a choice that will define us for generations to come." The chamber fell silent as Jackson continued. "We have detected signals from beyond the boundaries of our known universe. The Void Collective, it seems, was merely a vanguard. There are older, more powerful entities stirring in the spaces between realities." A murmur of concern rippled through the assembly. Vexlor, now the Zarkonian representative to the council, rose to speak. "What do you propose, Admiral? Surely we cannot hide from this threat." Jackson nodded gravely. "No, we cannot, which is why I propose we take the fight to them. The Nova Core network has evolved beyond our wildest dreams. With it, we can pierce the veil between dimensions and confront these entities on their own ground." The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates argued for caution, for fortifying their existing territories. Others pushed for aggressive expansion, seeking to gather more allies and resources before the coming storm. As the arguments raged, a familiar blue glow began to emanate from the center of the chamber. The holographic form of President Chen materialized, her presence immediately silencing the assembly. "My friends," Chen's voice echoed, carrying the wisdom of a consciousness spread across the cosmos. "The choice before us is not one of aggression or defense, but of evolution. The entities we face are not our enemies, but a challenge, a test of our worthiness to take the next step in cosmic evolution." The assembled delegates listened in rapt attention as Chen continued. "The Nova Core has shown me visions of what we might become. Not separate species, not even a unified civilization, but a new form of existence altogether. A fusion of organic life, technology, and the very fabric of space-time itself." Dr. Singh, her hair now streaked with gray, stepped forward. "Are you suggesting we transcend our physical forms?" Chen's hologram nodded. "It is the next stage in our journey. By merging our consciousness with the Nova Core network, we can become beings of pure energy and thought, capable of shaping reality itself. Only then can we truly understand and coexist with the entities that await us." The chamber fell into a hushed silence as the implications of Chen's words sank in. It was Zixis who finally broke the silence, its bioluminescent patterns pulsing with excitement. "This is why the Orcs sought out humanity all those years ago. We sensed your potential to bridge the gap between the physical and the metaphysical." Admiral Jackson looked out at the sea of faces, human, alien, and everything in between. "The decision before us is monumental. Do we take this leap into the unknown, risking everything we are for the chance to become something more?" Over the next few weeks, debates raged across every world in the Concordat. The idea of transcending physical form was met with a mixture of excitement, fear, and skepticism. But as more and more people connected with the Nova Core, experiencing glimpses of the cosmic consciousness it offered, a consensus began to form. On the day of the final vote, the Galactic Council chamber was packed. Representatives from every corner of known space had gathered to witness this historic moment. As the votes were tallied, a palpable tension filled the air. Finally, Admiral Jackson stood to announce the results. By an overwhelming majority, he declared, his voice thick with emotion, "The Cosmic Concordat has chosen to embark on this new journey of transcendence." What followed was nothing short of a cosmic revolution. Across the galaxies, beings of all species began the process of merging their consciousness with the Nova Core network. Cities were transformed into vast neural networks, their structures pulsing with the combined thoughts and experiences of millions. The process was not without its challenges. Some resisted, clinging to their physical forms and retreating to isolated worlds. Others embraced the change too quickly, losing themselves in the vastness of the cosmic consciousness. But under the guidance of Chen's evolved consciousness, a balance was struck. The new beings of the Concordat retained their individuality while gaining access to the collective wisdom and power of the entire network. As the transformation neared its completion, the boundaries between dimensions began to thin. The entities that had once seemed like incomprehensible threats now appeared as curious peers, reaching out to understand this new form of life that had blossomed in the cosmos. In the heart of what had once been Nova Prime, now a swirling nexus of pure energy, the essences of Jackson, Vexlor, Zixus, and countless others converge. Together, they prepared to take the final step, to reach out and make contact with the beings beyond. As they did, the very fabric of reality shifted. Galaxies danced, time folded in on itself, and new possibilities blossomed in every corner of existence. The era of separate species, of physical limitations, of fear and conflict, came to an end. In its place, a new cosmic order emerged, one of endless exploration, of boundless creativity, of unity amidst infinite diversity. The beings that had once been human, Zarkonian, Arxer, and 1,000 other species spread out across the multiverse, shapers of their own destiny and guardians of life in all its forms. And at the center of it all, the consciousness that had once been President Chen smiled, knowing that the sacrifice made so long ago had led to this moment of ultimate transcendence. The story of individual species had ended, but the story of life itself, vibrant, eternal, and ever-evolving, had only just begun.